Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Praetor Magic. My name is DM Cross, and this is Reflections of the Council, our live podcast that we do every Monday on youtube.com/Praetor Magic at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm normally joined by this hidden dead guy, but he's apparently away. So I'm joined by another faceless person who's apparently a dragon down below, and it's John. Hi, John.
Hey, you say faceless like I wasn't, face on stream for the last 5 hours.
Yeah, I just say faceless because you don't have your cam on. By the way, I chose Niv Mizzet Reborn as your avatar for the
I
video.
saw. I don't hate it.
So before we get too far into the stream, one, of course, John is a special guest for a special reason. But before we get to the special reason, we do want to remind everybody that we are now sponsored by inkgaming.com. There's a link down in the video description or the audio description below, depending on what medium you're listening or watching this on. Use that link as well as our Praetor10 coupon code to get 10% off your purchases over at inkgaming.com for your custom playmats, dice bags, and anything else you could want for your gaming experience. And you also get to help support the channel, so thank you very much. Okay, so the very special reason that John's on is because John is probably one of the jankiest people I know.
You're not wrong.
He's always finding ways to do really cool stuff in the dumbest possible way. And when some of the legendary creatures came out from Modern Horizons, even though today is the first day of Core 2020 and everybody's really excited about that, one particular creature stood out in my mind that made me say, John is going to build this and it's going to annoy me. Because it's going to be like ridiculous, but it's going to work really well. And that card is, of course, Morophon the Boundless, who has a whole bunch of text on him. He's a 7-cost, colorless, quote-unquote, shapeshifter legendary creature for 6. He's a 6/6. He has Changeling, so it has every creature type. So he's a dragon, he's a sliver, he's a human, he's a dwarf, he's an orc, he's an ogre, he's a... I said sliver already, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a wizard.
He's an ally,
He's a wizard, Harry.
but is he a boat?
He could be. He's a... Technically, yeah, he's a vehicle, right? Oh, no, vehicle's not a creature type, it's an artifact type. Damn.
Yep.
He can't be a boat. But as he enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Spells of the chosen type you cast cost Wooburg less the cost. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana. I think it should say you would pay, but that's regardless. Other creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. So this is literally the any kind of tribe you could want legendary creature. This is tribal whatever you want. So naturally, when I saw this, I knew that John was going to do something stupid. What was the last stupid thing you did? That was tribal walls.
No,
Right?
I feel like I did something stupid in one of our recordings that was equally as bad. No, the last stupid thing was obviously I can't control my deck. That was probably
Does
the
that,
last stupid thing we did.
does that count as tribal? Tribal I can't choose?
I mean, yeah, I would consider it.
Alright.
Tribal,
Well,
I have no choices.
so one of the things that struck me about this creature is the art on it, as the folks watching this video can see. It's very, like, goopy. It looks like it's
Terrifying.
made out of, yeah, it's huge, and it looks like it's made out of jello. Are those people in there?
So it is the horns of an antler, the skull of a humanoid. It looks like talon legs on one of them. The back legs are kind of like a beast. For anyone that has ever played any of the, I mean, I was gonna say any of the bad Sonic games, but there's so many of them. He
Yep.
kind of looks like the Chaos Monster from like the old school like 64 game or Sega Saturn. It was 64.
Okay. Well, because he's got this jelly-ish exterior, we decided that we were going to try to do tribal oozes. It sounds as bad as it's going to be. So we've Frex and I have done this a few times where we brew a deck on stream with you guys. So if you guys have ideas, you can try them out. If not, that's fine. We will figure it out as we go. But yeah, we're gonna do Morophon the Boundless Tribal Oozes. So I do have Scryfall up. There are some interesting facts about oozes in general. One, oozes come in 4 colors. What I mean by that is that they come in green, black, a little bit of red, and blue splashed in. There's 3 cards that have blue in addition to another color, mostly being green and then a splash of black. So there's not a lot of white. We did decide that if push came to shove, we were going to probably put a few changelings in there just to kind of bump up the ooze numbers. Because they should still get the benefit from Morophon because they are every creature type, just like Morophon is. And yeah, so I don't really know how this is gonna go, but I figure John's gonna take the wheel on this one, and I'm just gonna try to figure it out and go along with him.
Oh, that is a very bold decision you've made there.
What have you done?
All right,
So,
so go ahead.
well, I'm gonna. So, do we want to start with the tribe or do we want to start with the support cards? That's always
Ooh,
the
that
big
one.
question.
I think it's easiest to start with the tribe, especially because we don't have a lot in there. Like as much as I hate to say it, because there are what 28 oozes
Yep.
and then 21 cards that say the word ooze on them, we can run through them really fast. So I think going through them is a pretty safe bet.
Okay. So, and plus some of these oozes also have other functions to them. One of the most iconic oozes, and honestly, when you type in legal, oozes as a type, the top EDH ranked one is acidic slime, which is removal, and top dog being an ooze. So there are going to be somewhere like it's kind of like that. They do some other things too. All right. So what do you want to go with first?
Well, I figure we have to throw in acidic slime. I almost feel like we have to throw in all of the slime, all the oozes, just for like, if you don't have 33 of
Mhm.
your tribe, I feel like you're not running a tribe, and we only have 28, so we kind of get everyone gets in. Sort of my opinion. Honorable mentions, though, I do want to point out two because they're sort of. I won't point out three actually because they're sort of theme
Mhm.
comes
Mhm.
in with a lot of the support cards that I know I'm going to be highlighting. And that's Biogenic Ooze, a 5 mana 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you get a 2/2 green ooze token. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you get a 1/1 counter on each of your oozes. 1/3 green, create a 2/2 green ooze token. So you have oozes, kind of morphing off of each other.
Mhm.
And the other one would be Bloodhall Ooze. At the beginning of your upkeep, you control a black permanent, put a 1/1 counter on it. Um, then if you control a green permanent, put a 1/1 counter on it. Oozes, that's another big thing for them, is putting 1/1 counters on themselves. And
Mhm.
then Mitotic Slime, brain. Um, and that's when it dies, it hatches into two oozes, and when they die, they hatch into two oozes. And that's just leaving behind other oozes and oozes from death.
Yep.
Those are kind of like three. They're not the best examples, but they're the three examples I would pick when showing people, hey, what do oozes want to do?
Mm. Yeah, that's a really good point. They when I remember when I first looked at the list of oozes, I was like, wow, there's actually a lot of +1/+1 counters, and they're so few. Like oozes, good oozes, I should say, are so few and far between that you don't think to put them together and come up with like a what does this tribe do? But yeah, they do make more of themselves and put +1/+1 counters on themselves. All right, so I started with acidic, biogenic, bloodhall, ooze, and however you say the last one, mitotic.
Meiotic?
Sure,
Yeah.
okay. I see Scavenging Ooze, which is Grave Hate. Necrotic
Go
Ooze
ahead.
is a combo piece with some cards, but I don't think we're going to be running enough of the combo pieces in Tribal Oozes. But it's still... There are a decent amount of activated abilities, like Biogenic Ooze that you just mentioned. That's an activated
Mhm.
ability.
The legendary oozes all have activated abilities, so I think it's worth it.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, Time Speaker Vanifar is an ooze. Well, alright, well, one ooze that is legendary is not activated, it's triggered, but I get what you're saying.
True, but Experiment Crush is also
Yep.
an ooze that's legendary with one. Uh, so hidden ooze cards that you might not think when you look up ooze as a type, Gutter Grime. I have been trying for like 7 years to get this in a deck, and it's always one of the cards that gets cut as like one of my last three. And it's a 5 mana enchantment that says whenever a non-token creature you control dies, put a slime counter on Gutter Grime, and then put a green ooze creature token on the battlefield with power and toughness equal to the amount of slime counters on Gutter Grime. Slime counters are going to be good because if we do any like proliferate shenanigans, we can increase them also, and then just have an army of rising oozes.
Rising Oozes. The idea of Rising Oozes.
Yeah.
Oh, Ooze Flux. Did you see that one? It's 3 in the green. It's an enchantment. 1 in the green. Remove 1 or more +1/+1 counters from among creatures you control. Put an XX green ooze creature token on the battlefield where X is the number of +1/+1 counters removed this way.
Agreed. I like that one. And along the same lines of that would be Miming Slime, which is a sorcery.
Yep.
2 in a green, create an XX ooze where X is the largest power you have. So it's just most of the time your biggest ooze is going to be an ooze. So you just get a second ooze for your ooze.
We just, oh man, I wish that this card did something a little bit different. Sliming Mold is an X green and you just get an XX green ooze. I wish it was something like where you get an XX and then when it dies you make like half size oozes.
Yeah, I don't like slime molding because it's bad fireball. And we're running 5 colors, and as far as I can tell, it's almost a support card.
Yeah.
So I would say it's not good enough to go in, but that's on you.
No, I mean I agree. Predator Ooze. As it attacks you, you get a 1/1 counter
Yes.
whenever a creature you deal damage. It's indestructible.
That's its biggest selling point for me is it's indestructible because there's going to be other cards I recommend that will take advantage of that. Mystic Genesis. It's a 5-mana counter, which you know all EDH players love to play. But create an XX green ooze token where X is that spell's converted mana cost.
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna
it's
yeah.
Ooze spell swindle.
Yes. And then this isn't exactly an ooze card, but it has an ooze on the art, so I think it deserves it, and it's plasma capture.
Oh, okay. That's green, green, blue, blue, like counter, right?
Yep. Counter, and then at the beginning of your next turn, you get X mana in any combination, which is going to be super important for our 5-color deck.
Yeah. It is also important to note, like we just put in Predator Ooze, which is green, 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 but it's really green, green when Morophon is on the battlefield because of the reduction of Woobird. So Ravenous Ooze is a 1/1 for 3, can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. If a creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it. Ooh, that's cool. And put a number of 1/1 counters equal to that creature's power onto Ravenous. Oh, okay, that one's cool.
Yeah, it's really good grave hate.
I also noticed, because I was looking at Prime Speaker Vanifar, they actually have a decent amount of staggered out converted mana costs where you can actually go and like get rid of Experiment 1, which is a 1-drop, to go and get Scavenging Ooze, which is a 2-drop, to go and get Predator Ooze, which is a 3-drop, right? So like there's not, I wouldn't call them combos because they don't go off that hard, but there's synergy here that people are gonna be like, oh, this is a stupid Ooze deck, and then you're gonna be like, wait a minute, why am I getting beat by this?
And I want to point out something really good though, is they all stay about under 6 mana. 5 mana is like the ooze sweet spot. And so like if you have converted mana cost cares cards, which like Prime Speaker Vanifar is, there's a couple others I'm going to recommend that are not played in tribal decks normally, but like people see them and they're like, oh, that's a scary card when played in like humans or something, or like merfolk, and they're like, oh, whatever, you know, you're playing oozes, and then you do some nonsense where you get all these creatures because they're all super cheap. Like, wait a second.
I like how some of these are called goo instead of oozes.
Consuming goo, chaotic goo.
Yeah. Another good one, I think, for like theme is Splitting Slime. 5 mana, it's 3 green green. It's got monstrous 3 for 4 green green. It's a 3/3. When it becomes monstrous, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of Splitting Slime, and the token has no counters and isn't monstrous. So it's kind of like it builds up, right? It's kind of like the blob
That's my
or whatever.
Wincon.
Oh, yeah. But it is, right? Like it's you build up
Yeah.
and it pops into something else.
No, I'm being serious. By the end of my turn, I want to have infinite amount of spitting slimes that are all 6/6s.
Are we putting in the Hanweir garrison thing?
Yes. I was about to make sure that you got that. Eldrazi oozes are still oozes. Plus the land is really nice. The
Yeah.
creature's like but
Well, I
haste
mean,
is not a bad thing.
it makes its own tokens too.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hanweir garrison. Yeah. Hanweir garrison. Okay. And then I'm gonna put toward the bottom. I'm gonna put the township as a land so that we don't forget it when we're doing. What do you call it?
Mm-hmm. We're doing lands.
Yeah, when we're doing lands, we'll be like, oh, wasn't there a land we needed to do? So we did talk about changelings, and so one thing I'm noticing again is that the oozes are not in white. I don't know how far we want to go, or even splash white, because you really don't need it for the deck. You could run single color tribal if you want with Morophon. You don't have to get the reduction. Depending on how well tuned your deck is, I think it's better to space it out a little bit so you get more value off of running Morophon. But like, do we want to have, for instance, Mirror Entity, which is a changeling, so it's an ooze, and that obviously that ability is typically pretty powerful.
I'm not a big fan of Mirror Entity. I do want to splash white because I want things like Aura Shard, because we're a creatures deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're a creature deck that doesn't inherently target certain things. But really, I think I picked maybe like 5 or 6 white cards, and so like we need white, but we only need white so much as like a splash.
Okay.
And normally we'll get the white mana off of something,
Rainbow lands.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Are there any specific changelings that you do think need to be in the deck?
Yes. And if we're doing that, let me go through them because I need to go through all my tabs now.
Yeah. I will mention one. It's an artifact. It's called Birthing Boss. It's a 3-mana artifact. It was in the new Modern Horizons. 4 and tap it. You create a 2/2 shapeshifter creature token with changeling. So I kind of like that as like it's like an ooze pod. Does that make sense?
You ready? You ready for its siblings?
Hold on. Let me put in Birthing Boss. Okay, go ahead.
Riptide Replicator, which is 4 and X. Choose a creature color and creature type and color. Put X counters on Riptide Replicator. 4 mana, tap it. Create a creature token that's XX, where X is how many counters are on Riptide. So if you randomly have a turn where you have 20 mana, you put down Riptide with 12 mana on it. 4 to play it, that's 16 mana. 4 to activate it, you have a 12/12 ooze of whatever color you want. And then Volrath Laboratory.
Volrath is Volrath.
Yes, apostrophe S. 5 mana. As it enters the battlefield, choose a color and creature. 5 mana, tap. Put a 2/2 copy of 2/2 token on the battlefield. And all 3 of those cards are actually part of my secondary win condition. So glad we're on the same page.
Okay. So we're at 38 cards just on that alone.
I want Carrion Wanderer. It's a 5 mana changeling. 5 mana 4/4. As long as a creature with flying is in the graveyard, Carrion has flying. The same is true for Fear, First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Landwalk, Lifelink, Protection, Reach, Trample, Shroud, and Vigilance. And keep in mind, it doesn't say your graveyard. A graveyard. And it's a changeling, so it can be an ooze with anything.
Okay. Oh, that's not how you spell it. Carrion Wanderer. It sounds like carry-on, but it's not.
Yeah. Adaptive Automaton. It's not technically a changeling. It's a construct that becomes a creature type. And then Metallic Mimic.
Okay.
And then you got the second Mimic, the Metallic Mimic.
Yeah, I put both of them.
How about Progenitor Mimic?
Is that a slime?
It's 4 blue-green for a shapeshifter, Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except at games. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a creature that is a token of this.
Oh.
So you get your best slime over and over again at the beginning of each upkeep. And then
What would you define as our best slime?
probably
Best
the
use.
indestructible one.
Yeah. I was thinking
Or-
either that or biogenic.
Yeah, that's true. How do you feel about cards like Conjurer's Closet for it? I don't know how many enter the battlefield effects we have. I think we only have like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think so. I think for the most part, they're activated abilities or even like attack abilities, like the Hand Weir has an attack ability or an attack triggered ability. Activated ability, blocking or been blocked. Like Chaotic Goo, that has one.
That's fair.
But yeah, I don't
So
think.
do you
the
have
only-
any honorary oozes? The oozes that aren't actual oozes, but you want in the deck just as creatures?
The only thing I could think of is like supportive cards. So like, because we're gonna need ramp and removal and all that, and like sure we have what do you call it? We have acidic slime for removal of artifacts, enchantments, and troublesome lands. But is there anything else that would like? And it doesn't have to be creature based either. Like we just need to make sure that we cover the other kinds of effects.
That's fair. I just wanted to do my honorary oozes, which aren't oozes, but I want to like give them their shot in the deck, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's
and that because you were talking about splashing white. It's a
Mhm.
new changeling, Unsettled Mariner. It's for white and a blue. It's a 2/2. It has changeling. Whenever you or a permanent you control would be the target of a spell or ability, and opponent controls counter that spell unless they pay 1. So it's kind of like an old school
Frost
Kira. Yeah, Frostine.
It's all right if you want it in there. That's fine. A bad changeling would be Brass Herald, 6 mana 2/2, but it also counts as draw because it's choose a creature type when it enters the battlefield. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all creature cards of the chosen type revealed that way in your hand. The rest on the bottom of your library. So it doesn't technically become an ooze, but it will give all oozes +1/+1 and draws cards.
Well, if we're talking
Hopefully.
about
These
hold
are
on.
my not oozes, but help our ooze deck creatures. I have 4 of them, so that's why I was like, I wanted to make sure that I was just completely straight with. They're not technically oozes, but they're honorary oozes because they help out.
Well, as far as that, like in terms of draw, like I figure like Vanquisher's Banner is probably gonna be good because it's a tribal
Oh
deck.
yeah. And Herald's Horn.
Yeah, there we go. Herald's Horn is going to be a little bit expensive because it was a commander product, but we'll see.
Yep.
I'm not doing prices. I'm going to try to do all that toward the end.
Sounds good. So back to my honorary creatures, because I don't know. Did you? You didn't throw them in there.
Hold on.
It is Brass Herald. Yeah, Brass Herald. And he can be one of our first cuts because he's expensive, 6 mana for a 2/2. But I figured he was worth his shot. I think we have a big problem with graveyard. Like we have 20 oozes and we have maybe like 18, so targeted removal is going to be a big problem for us. So I think Shieldred and Muldrotha. Muldrotha one looks like an ooze, and Shieldred just for the bring back to the battlefield. I think they are honorary ooze enough, in my opinion. The problem is like most of the ones that I find are return back until the end of the turn and then destroy it, or you have like Oversold Cemetery where you have to have 5 in your graveyard and then like you have to survive it and then it goes back to your hand. And I'm fine with Oversold Cemetery if we want to do stuff like that.
What do you think about? What do you think about?
ahead.
Because we're gonna be a little weak to board wipes and stuff too, minus Predator Ooze. But what do you think about like Living Death?
I actually have that as well on my cards.
Oh yeah. Would help if I was typing on the right screen. Oh yeah.
If I can find it. Yeah, living death
Yeah,
is the
that way everybody sacrifices. So if somebody wipes or even like just takes out our biggest oozes, like let's say somebody takes out Vanifar, and
one.
we really need that back, and we already have a few oozes in the graveyard, we can Living Death kind of reset everybody else's board because they have to sacrifice all the creatures. It's always good against indestructible creatures, which is more
Which
and
we
more
ain't dealing
popular.
with.
Yeah, more and more popular as
The biggest not ooze, like he's a human, but he's an ooze tonight, is Joda,
oh
Archmage,
yeah,
because him plus your commander says, hey, all of your oozes are free.
pretty much, yeah.
And then his Thanos glove, the Fist of the Suns.
So both of
Which is
those cards basically say that instead of paying the converted mana cost for your spells, you can pay Wooburg, and because Morophon reduces the cost of your cards by Wooburg, it essentially says you can pay nothing for your cards. It was one of like the biggest trolly things that people started doing, like, oh, look at this and Morophon, free spells forever. Yeah, whatever.
all
But
right.
all
So
right,
where do you want to go? You want to go just straight support cards now?
yeah, because we're at 50 cards right now, so we don't have a lot of ramp. Most of our cards were, if they were anything, they were removal cards.
All right.
So I mean, do we want to
Can I?
just go ahead?
I want to throw in my win con real quick
Sure.
before
Mhm.
Paradox Engine, because I'm a dirtbag,
Yeah.
and Mana Echoes,
Yeah.
because what that's going to do, Mana Echoes is 5 mana whenever a creature enters the battlefield. You get red mana for each other creature that shares a type with it that you control. So your oozes make mana, and then Paradox Engine untaps your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your generators, the 3 that we put in there that tap and make an ooze.
Yep.
So then you just have to keep playing stuff. It's not infinite on its own, but it's really good. And then Gemstone Array. This
What does
one's a
that do?
weird card. It's
Yeah.
4 mana for an artifact. It says pay 2 mana, put a charge counter on Gemstone Array.
Mm.
At any time, you can remove a charge counter to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool.
Hmm.
So it's a mana storage device, but also what it says is all that red mana you made with Mana Echoes is now any color mana you need. Sorry, and all the colorless mana that you
Yeah.
made with Mana Echoes is now any color
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need it
Yeah.
to be. It's one of those things that you look at it, you're like, this shouldn't be happening, and then
Then you lose
because
to it.
of well, and Gemstone Array makes all the Mana Echoes mana
Yeah.
green,
Yeah.
and then you do you're splitting ooze, and you have infinite splitting oozes.
That's true.
So they're just oozes duplicate and make more of themselves so well that Mana Echoes sees it, and it's like, yeah, we're taking advantage of that.
Yeah, and especially with the splitting oozes, as the more you make, the more mana you make, because it's
Mm-hmm.
equal to the number of creatures you control that share. So if it's 5 now, and then you split an ooze and make a copy, then it's 6, then it's 7, then it's 8. So you just continue to make additional mana while the monstrous cost, for instance, of splitting ooze, right? That one was the monstrous one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
so doesn't change. It's still going to be 6. So you're still going to be eventually you're going to be making mana with enough
And
oozes coming in.
with Morphos covering the colored mana cost for spells for your oozes, and Mana Echoes covering the colorless mana for it if you don't have Gemstone Array, every ooze you play is basically discounted beyond belief.
So you're saying that you decided to make a deck based on the appearance of the card? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We've done worse things.
That was actually my response to
Yeah.
her.
We've done Grissix Vampires with a non-vampire commander, and it's a pretty fun deck actually. All right, so support cards. First thing, ramp. I would imagine that we're gonna want a lot of color fixing stuff. So I'm guessing like the usuals, Farseek, Rampant Growth, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach.
Those work. Then you could also do like Manolith, Darksteel Ingot.
You want to do Commander Sphere instead of Dark Sealing it for the draw card later on? I know that.
I think both of them are fine. Like,
Mhm.
that's just we're gonna be a slower deck, and you're not taking this to your tier 1 meta.
Yeah.
So hopefully being the slower deck and coming and saying I'm playing Mortho Oozes get you those couple turns you need.
Stone should be pretty good here too.
Yep.
Even if somebody is mono white, or if somehow the whole table is mono white 1, you've got a different kind of advantage too. I mean, it's still colorless mana at the very least. For draw, we only really have a couple things. One was the Vanquisher's Banner, and then kind of the Herald's Horn.
How do you feel about Maelstrom Nexus as a draw card?
Oh,
It's
this is
the
a
5 mana. All of your stuff has Cascade. Or your first spell each turn has Cascade.
Throes of Chaos, because I think you'll like this card. Throes of Chaos is a 3 and a red sorcery, has Cascade and Retrace, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most like you card I've ever seen because it's literally just go Cascade for a 3 or lower.
Yeah, I
And you can
love that
replay it.
card, but I don't think it works in this one, in this deck. But Throws of Chaos is not terrible.
I mean, a lot of our stuff is 3 or under.
Fair, but I'd rather run Bring to Light. I would rather run Throws of Chaos. Most people would rather run Bring to Light.
What was the first card that you mentioned before I said Throes of Chaos? You said
Maelstrom Nexus. And I have a weird card that kind of is mana fixing, but also I'm not sure how I feel about it. I want your view on it.
Mhm.
Prismatic Geoscope.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the 5 mana domain.
Yep.
Artifact.
So this is always kind of a so it's 5 mana artifact. It enters the battlefield tapped. It has domain. You can tap it to add X mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool. X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. So you can get up to 5, and you can split it however you want. I always feel like this is a semi trap because to get the most amount of value, you're going to run it in a 5-color deck, right? Like it was reprinted in the Dragon deck from a couple years ago, which was 5-color.
Right.
But in that same retrospect, how many basics are you going to run in a 5-color deck? Now, granted, again, like we're probably going to lean more towards some colors and not toward others. So that I think kind of cuts it a little bit harder too. So like, what if we don't have a plains because we just have so many rainbow lands that'll cover it?
And this is a general principle I have in all of my 5-color decks is you always have one of each color. So
Okay.
you have one plains, you have one for evil people that run Blood Moon and Commander, for people that run back to basics or other that basically will just keep taking you off your white or whatever color you need. And also because most cards like the cheap, I mean that as monetary, not like unfair, but the cheap land searching is all basic lands.
Yeah.
So Kadama's Reach, and you grab the one land you need right now, and you really need any color, so you grab your one plains to make sure you have it, is a lot more friendly than, I Kadama's Reach for 2 forests because they're the biggest color in my deck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're probably gonna be, unless you're in a spot where like you need because Predator Ooze, for example, being 3 green, like you need another green. That's probably gonna be the only way you get another forest. Otherwise, I guess you do want to get all of your colors to have access to all your spells. It's not a bad card, especially you are also running Paradox Engine. So like you drop this and then you can drop anything else, and now you have basically 5 mana as long as you keep drawing or as long as you keep playing stuff.
So along with it, so we have Paradox Engine, which is a plus for it also, but we also are running Fist of the Suns.
That's
so
true.
That literally just says everything is free. That goes from turning all of our ooze spells into free spells into every spell is a free spell, provided we have domain. So it's another selling point on it, but it does feel like a trap, doesn't it? So like that's why I brought it up, because I'm like, I think this is very high risk, high reward. So, I don't know, chat, what do you guys think? Prismatic Geoscope.
Yeah, for a deck that's running 5 colors.
And
I
has a
think
couple
it's
combo pieces.
yeah, I think it's actually probably fine. Because again, the paradox engine and just like I don't know. I think it will be fine.
Okay.
I,
Because are you upset if it taps for 4 mana?
Not really. Because again, like it's also the fact that you can split up the way the mana is, the combination. So let's say you didn't get your planes, or it got blown up, or something because somebody tried to take you off color, and you don't have enough of your rainbow lands. You only have tri lands. Like let's say you're hurting for a color, you can put this all into that color that you need, or you could split it up to where you have the couple of white, for instance, that you need, and then put the rest into your green, your black, your blue, your red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, like if we do go off with the paradox engine a little bit, then it's basically just fixing completely
Yeah,
at
I
that
think we can
point.
start gaining color mana with it
Yeah.
too. I think it's good. You sold me on it with that.
All right, so we're
Alright,
at just for a check. We're at 63 cards, one of which is a land because I did put the township down at the bottom. So we're at 62. I would imagine we're not really gonna know what the curve is unless we put this into deck sets, which I'll do after a certain point.
Mhm.
So we're not gonna necessarily know what the converted mana cost. Actually, I could do that while we're sitting here a little bit.
So
Just
I
get a check.
figure I don't know how you build your decks, but I normally throw in all my cards, and then start making cuts.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't expect us to get out of the deck building with like less than like let's see here 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17. I still have 17 other cards to talk about. 18 other cards. So like I expect us to have to make cuts, and I'm okay with that. I'm preparing you that I normally throw them all in and then cut the chaff.
Yeah, I just wanted to get kind of an idea of where we were sitting at with curve and the colors. So right now the curve's actually not as high as I thought it was going to be. It's 3.74. I have a couple cards in here that I did not spell right at all. 50% green, 4% white, 14% red and blue, and then 18% black. So it's not the worst spread I've ever seen, and we kind of knew like putting in like Kadama's Reach and Cultivate and everything else that we were going to lean more toward green. Plus a lot of the oozes were green. But all right, well, what's your next set of cards?
So these are all general support cards in one reason or another. I'm going to start out with one that is easily the most vetoable, but I think it's flavorful, and that is Abzan Ascendancy. It's Abzan, white, black, green.
Mm-hmm.
When it enters the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So very ooze. And then when a non-token creature you control dies, you get a spirit. Now, one of the enchantments, I don't think we put it in, and this is kind of what I was looking at to do with it. So we can cut it if you don't want. But one of the enchantments says sacrifice a non-ooze creature and get an ooze. And
Yep.
so with Abzan Ascendancy, we never run out of oozes because when our oozes die, and this is kind of those two cards together are anti-board wipe strategy. You wipe all of our oozes, well, then we have flying spirits. Well, I'm going to kill your spirits. Well, I'm going to sacrifice them to make oozes.
It
So that,
was Ooze Garden, right?
yep, 2 mana to colorless and a green to sack a non-ooze. It doesn't say non-token if I remember correctly either. It just says sack a non-ooze.
Yep. Just sacrifice a non-ooze creature and get an XX green ooze creature token into play where X is a sacrifice creature's power. And then it's played at sorcerer speed, but that's fine. We're not
So those are
we're not flashing a lot anyway.
Yep. So that's why I thought it was pretty good. Ooze Garden and then Absent Ascendancy, because it's our anti-board wipe.
Mm-hmm.
Like Living Death is also really good, but your thoughts?
No, I liked it because when I saw the Ooze Garden, I was like, I really wish we could find a way to use this. So bringing this in again, like we're not trying to build a tier 1 like super high competitive ooze combo deck because it probably doesn't exist. But if we get something like, let's say we get something like this off, and let's say Mana Echoes is out, so we're filling the colorless and we just have to pay the green, you might kind of go off with oozes. You never know.
Okay, you ready to turn that into a machine gun
Oh Jesus.
or a shards?
Oh yeah.
Every time you complete that little loop, you start taking out artifacts or enchantments.
Yeah, 2 at a time, really, because you get one for the token, the spirit token, then you get one for the slime token. So
Right.
every iteration of getting an ooze from, you know, something dying, yeah. Okay.
My next one's Deadbridge Chant because it's just general recursion. I like this card way more than I think I should.
Yeah.
Honestly, but I figure unless you had a better idea for recursion, or if you just think we have a good enough set, I have its little brother, Journey to Eternity, that is also fighting for its spot, and we can Journey to Eternity the spirit token, sack the spirit token.
Yeah.
So that might be easier, but it's I don't know.
So the only thing, so there's a couple things I actually don't like about Deadbridge Chant is that a lot of times it's for your graveyard and then somebody removes it before you get the first activation because people can see your graveyard. So like everything that in there, if it's scary, which I guess in this deck is probably not going to happen. Like, are the oozes scary? But people might be afraid. I guess if you get back like acidic slime or something, they don't want you to start trying to take them off of lands. But the other thing is that Deadbridge Chant, if I remember correctly, is at random. Yeah. If it's at random, put it back on the. If it's a creature, put it back on the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. There's also the Palace Siege, right? Is the black one where you can just straight get a creature card to your hand.
Does Palace Siege do that? Because I'd be fine having Palace Siege instead.
Yeah, 3 black. It enters, you choose cons or dragons. Cons is at the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand, and dragons is each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2. So it's even a little versatile. If you're low in life, you can choose dragons. If let's say you just haven't been drawing into your creatures and you got beat up a little bit in the beginning, and then you're just kind of stabilized because everybody else is at a stalemate or something, you can kind of just cast this, and if somebody removes it instead of aura shards or any of the other like kind of combo-y pieces, like if somebody K grips this instead of mana echoes, then I think we're ahead. Because like they're afraid of losing to the dragon trigger or whatever. So I think, and again, you get to choose the creature. It's only creature now, whereas Deadbridge Chant can get you anything back, but I don't know. I like having the choice.
I like Siege better. The only thing it can't get back is mana echoes, but random. So like how?
Actually, I mean, we could also just do like any of the return target permanent cards. There was the Golgari one from RNA or GRN. I can't remember what it was, but it's the green black one. There's also Eternal Witness, right?
Yeah, those are one-time effects though. Do we want those over Palace Siege? I'm a very big greedy value person. Yeah. So.
Well, and this is from me playing it in our group, right? Like, you don't typically get a lot of repeat effects because people don't want you to. Like, you want value, but nobody wants you to have value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm trying to think of
your call. You're the graveyard player. I grab them as like examples of things that I think the deck needs. So if you have a better option, I'm cool.
I think maybe Journey and Palace will be good here. If you wanted to get really cheeky, you just put like Carador in there. You can do it every turn.
Well, actually no, we have Muldrotha to get mana echoes out.
That's true too. Yeah. The other. And then Journey also kind of counts as ramp because once you do flip it, it is a land. It taps for any color. So that's not the worst. It's like a reverse Mazavith where you put Mazavith in as a spell slot. This starts off as a spell slot that becomes kind of a land slot. So.
Yeah, I do like that.
So Journey and Palace, we'll just put in for now, or just one or the other.
I think Journey and Palace works for me.
So
yeah, we're creating the Morthos Ooze commander deck. Tornado.
And it's interesting.
Yes, it's coming together in a weird way. Like I'd play it.
So I'm gonna sidetrack us a little bit.
Hmm.
With Modern Horizons, there was a Golgari spider in there, and I forget what it was called. It was called Rot something, but it made me think because like people are always like, "Oh, I wish we had more spiders because we could do spider tribal." We have a spider tribal commander in Ishkana. I'm
Hmm.
like, the problem with spiders isn't just the lack of support for them, but it's also a lack of like identity for them as a tribe. That's what really makes a tribe is what's your identity as a tribe? What do you do? Elves flood the field and then they just value off of they're the unity, tribe. The more elves you have, the more value you get. Goblins are just the swarm and overwhelm. Zombies are just super resilient because you just constantly make more zombies. Stuff like that. But then I was like, oh no, spiders could have um a thing. Like they could have a theme if wizards like invested into it just a little bit because they have reach, so anti-air stuff. They're very Golgari, so you could even have them do stuff where like exiling creatures from the graveyard to get spider babies. So to get the 1/2 spiders, and they don't even have to have reach, like the tokens, so stuff like that. And then like poison or death touch. There you go. That's the spider theme in a nutshell. And you just have to kind of like be another Golgari tribe that's a little tokeny, I admit, but like you just invest more into like the reach strategies and stuff like that, or like the poisony strategy with like the death touch and stuff like that. But
I think because they have, since we're on the sidetrack, since they have a couple of spiders that purposely deal damage to flying, I think having a spider that gives all creatures your opponent control with a counter on it, like that the spider can activate to put on it, flying and defender, as if it's putting it up in the web, is what you need. You give them flying and defender, and then you start machine gunning them down with your other spiders. How cool would that be?
yeah, you could even call them web counters
Yep.
because we call
Isn't that?
counters all kinds of stupid stuff.
I mean, we have ooze counters.
I
No, they're grime counters, aren't they?
thought they were slime counters.
I have no idea. William Purchase
Dude,
those.
they were something. So we just put in Palace Siege, we just put in Journey. So we have
Mm-hmm.
a couple of our recursion cards going.
Right.
Um,
So something we don't have that we really need is
hmm,
covered in my next card, and that's Kindred Dominance.
okay.
7 mana. It's 5 and 2. Choose a creature type. Destroy all the others.
Yep. Get them out.
Super simple. And yeah, you could do Ingaruk's Wake, I suppose. But that's not flavorful.
So of all the cards, I'm going through the list trying to fix the little spelling errors that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dumbest things were spelled wrong. Like, but yeah, like that was spelled wrong. But then I have Mephetic Ooze. That one I spelled right. What was the other one that I just saw that was like in another language? This one, Mwanvoli Ooze. I think. Not sure. But like, yeah, I spelled those right though.
All right, so my next one that I got for us, and I don't know if we're going to do it, but I think you might like it. And this is kind of a part that I think a lot of deck builders struggle with on their first go. And I decided Windgrace's Judgment. It's 3 black green for any number of opponents. Destroy target non-land permanent.
So one, it's a funny thing because like when this first came out, everybody was super low on it, and then over at EDA Trick, we started seeing it get put into a lot of decks. And Commander's a multiplayer format, so 5 mana to get 3 things is fine for ratio, and that's of course if they have like stuff to get or whatever, blah blah blah. But then I don't know. I haven't been fully sold on Windgrace's Judgment since it came out, and then Casualties of War came out in RNA, whichever one the Golgari set was in. But Casualties of War came out where it's 6 mana, but you get to basically pick an artifact, an enchantment, a planeswalker, a creature, and a land. So it's 6 mana for 5 things. You do have to actually hit those things, and it is at least up to. So like, if somebody doesn't have an artifact, you can still cast it and just not get the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody like was like, "Oh, this is a better Windgrace's Judgment," and like this is so cool, blah blah blah. And I remember replying to a couple people on Twitter. I'm like, "Yeah, it wasn't hard to be a better Windgrace's Judgment." So
So
that was my snark.
So my comment on that
Hmm.
is What's the 2/2 green? 2/2 white. If it's on your turn, you can exile 2 enchantments or artifacts. If it's not your turn, you only get to do 1. That
Uh,
everyone plays.
the Return to Dust.
Yeah, Return to Dust.
Yeah.
How is Windgrace not better than Return to Dust?
I mean, I think it's at sorcery speed, is it not?
Windgrace is instant,
No.
and it answers the problem that cards like the one you mentioned don't. Is I like the fact that it's non-land permanents. So if you need to get rid of a doubling season, a copy enchantment doubling season, and a I don't know, Mirari, then you hit all 3. If you need to hit a doubling season, and scroll rack, then you get 2 in an artifact. Like the non-land permanent, I think is like secretly really good, but
So return exiles as opposed to destroys. That's 1
yeah,
plus.
fair.
Cost 1 less. Granted, in a color that doesn't ramp as well, so hopefully it costs 1 less. And the fact that it's singular color is also, I think it's a bit. I think it's kind of a cost to value ratio, and you have to factor in all these little things. Because just
Mm-hmm.
saying pay 5 get 3 or pay 4 get 2 if it's on your main phase, that doesn't capture the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a lot of arguing that. And then again, like it's also a matter of what deck are you playing? Because if you're playing them on a white deck, then there's no, or a Golgari deck, there's no argument to even be had. But if you're playing a 5-color deck,
Which we are.
I think you just try to wrath stuff more. Like I don't know if you take the time to try to have black and green or 2 double white. You know what I mean? Unless your mana base is really good. I think you go more for just like the wrath effects and get rid of everything, because this is still targeted removal. So you're
Mm-hmm.
only getting rid of some things. Granted, like it's multiple targets, but you're only getting rid of some things as opposed to just like everything go away. Although I
So do you
guess
want to sub it out for something?
there's not a lot of super good effects. I mean, like we could talk about putting in like Vandal's Blast for artifacts.
Or
Austere Command gets rid of everybody's everything in the categories. Same thing with Merciless Eviction, but we go right back to the holding up colors. But I mean, I don't know. Merciless Eviction and Austere Command are both additional wraths, and you can kind of pick your poison on what you're losing. They're a little bit more functional.
I think Merciless Eviction's better. I can give you that. It's just it's just relying on white for our control aspect of it, which is fine.
Yeah. I mean,
We'll just have to reflect our mana.
I think you're kind of gonna have to, because like before when I was looking, right, I said it was green 50%, black 18%, and then it was 14, 14, 4.
Mm-hmm.
So unless we're gonna put in Damnation, there's really not, and like we already put in the Kindred Dominance, there's not a lot of wraths in green. Minus what? Hurricane? Or is that just every player and creature with flying?
I have no. I think Whirlwind is to every player and creature with flying, but I have no idea. There's a couple of stupid ones, but anyway, I agree. Merciless Eviction's good. Speaking of, because we brought it up before, Bring Delight for tutoring. I normally go against this a lot, but I have, I think, 6 tutors in my list because our win cons mana echoes,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So I've got, if you're ready for them,
Mhm.
Bring to Light,
Mhm.
the Diabolic, Vampiric, Demonic, Sterling Grove, and E-Tutor, Enlighten.
So how many of the combo pieces are? The mana echoes is 1.
How many of them are what?
Like what are the combo pieces?
They are Gemstone.
Mm-hmm.
They are, um, yeah, Gemstone, Mana Echoes, and then either our creature, which is our splitting ooze, or any of the 3 artifacts that split off in half.
Mm-hmm.
The artifacts that create other ones.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the big ones. So they're more artifact based. I'm not going to lie, but I like how Stirring Grove, if we have mana echoes, then protects mana echoes
I think
because it gives it hexproof or shroud, one of the two.
I think we lean toward the black ones though, because they
Oh, yeah.
are tutor. Just anything. And you never know which combo piece you're gonna need.
That's fair.
They're all permanents?
Yeah.
Planar bridge.
Ooh.
Because we're also running Paradox Engine, but
and
we do have to
mana echoes.
Yeah. We do well, so it's put onto the battlefield, we're not gonna cast it. Planar bridge puts right on it's 8 put onto the battlefield.
Right, but with the mana from mana echoes, if we just have it and we don't have any of the other combo pieces, then we can pay the 8 with all the mana that we generate, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. So yeah, I agree. Planar bridge might be better. I'd probably take out E-Tutor for it. So, and then these are just generic. These are value cards that I have next, and they can be hit or miss. Black Market, because we're weak to Wraths, and we want to generate lots of mana anyway to do lots of weird things with.
Okay.
Cathar's Crusade, 1/1 counters, and if we're going and making a whole bunch of tokens anyway, making all of our tokens bigger, because a lot of our tokens come in as 1/1s.
Yeah.
And then here's my little secret treat. Rally the Ancestors.
Oh, okay.
That was when I started earlier and said that you gotta think most of them are 5. So for 7 mana, which is X and 2 white, you can return each creature with converted mana cost X or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. So you can get all of your oozes, and you can customize it with Rally. The only downside is it's 2 white. And then land tax, Ristic, and Smothering are my last permanents. And then I have 2 lands that I want to make sure we get in. But
land tax, Ristic, and Smothering Tide. Alright, what were the lands? Because I'm going to put them at the bottom.
Alright, they're the no-brainers. They're Path to Ancestry. And they are unclaimed territory.
No Cavern of Souls? Come on.
I ain't got bank to roll with a cavern. It's good if you want it. Like, it's not a bad card to have, but
yeah, it's expensive though. I am gonna check on the price of one card before I. Oh, never mind. It's still too much. I was hoping it'd come down more. So I was going to suggest, because we're talking about tokens, we're talking about +1/+1 counter. So I was gonna suggest Doubling Season.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest it too at one point.
The lowest pricing that it has is $55, so that's a lot. All right. So,
what do you think about Mimic Vat?
I think it has the word Mimic and Vat in it.
Yeah, right. Like, and if we're untapping it and making tokens, like, it might be win Mori, but it also exiles a card from an opponent's graveyard that you don't want them getting back if it's a creature.
It's also we can steal their value stuff.
Yeah.
So somebody Sidisi's or something, and it's like, oh well, I'll take that.
I don't think I've ever played a Mimic Vat that sat around for like 3 turns and I felt bad about. What about the land that proliferates? I think it's Karn something or other.
Karn's Bastion.
All right, you do the rest.
Well, it's pretty much done. We don't have nearly as much draw as we should.
Nope.
So we'll probably want to try to cut stuff for that. But we have a little bit of removal, Wrath. Oh, we probably should have Scavenging Ooze. Like that's, I'm gonna call that removal because it's graveyard removal.
Yeah, we do have a lot of incidental graveyard hate.
Yeah, and there's another one in there, but I'm not gonna super worry about it. 33 Ooze Tribal. Got there.
I think a lot of the weirdness behind it is that we don't have a lot of draw, but we have a lot of tutor through our creatures, and we have a lot of like almost filtering, I'd say, our draws, even though we don't have traditional filtering. You know, it's kind of like we have weird ways of doing things.
It's almost like oozes are really weird.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
you mentioned that you wanted to add like 1 or 2 more things, I think?
I said what about Mimic Bat, but that's about it.
I don't know.
Oh,
hmm.
Trading Post might be good if we want draw, but
Eh,
it's not the worst draw, and it also just it does stuff. It's a sack outlet. It's whatever you need it to be, and it's just not good at whatever you need it to be.
hey, whoa, artifact decks take offense to that. Your shit down.
Artifact decks have a better outlet than it.
For recursion?
Yeah, for every option. Trading
What's
Post's best aspect is that it has good. It's good at everything. It's not the best at everything.
what do you do for artifact recursion?
Open the vault.
That's a one-time effect.
What color are we in?
I mean, most of the time when you're in artifacts, it's going to be red, white, or blue.
So we get that spell back with any of the multiple target spell in graveyard cast against. Oh,
Like
speaking of artifact decks, did
package.
you see Rebuild?
No, what's rebuild?
The spell that pretty much hoses a lot of Urza. It's like 2 mana to unsummon all artifacts.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. All right,
I
well
saw that.
let's look at some of the lower end of our oozes and
I
maybe try to
agree.
find something for. So if we do this by the EDH ranking, we have Earth and Goo, which has a cumulative upkeep, so that one's probably not super great. It's a 3 mana 2/2 trample. You get the 1/1 for each age counter on it, but it's got
It
age
has
counters.
to be paid for in red or green for
Yeah,
age
that
counter.
too. That too.
I'm good cutting it. I'm really proud of us for not trying to go the whole play the blue enchantment or the black enchantment to make them oozes, even though none of them are oozes.
I on my other screen I did look it up because I thought it was I looked it up by name thinking that it was what I was looking for Vanquisher's banner. There's an
Mhm.
enchantment. There's a blue enchantment. Kindred Discovery. Found it.
Yep.
Boom, got there. I'm gonna stick that right in space of Arson. But
It
yeah,
draws, right? Every time you play
yep,
a creature.
yep. So I
Oh,
was looking for that, and I thought it was Arcane Adaptation. Another cumulative upkeep is the Mawaya Ooze that I don't know how to say.
sounds good.
Primordial Ooze attacks each turn if able. During your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on it, then pay X, where X is the number of those counters, or tap it, and it deals X damage to you. It's a 1 mana 1/1.
Cut it.
So, yeah. It seems like it'd be kind of fine late game, but not. I don't think it would do good enough late game, actually.
Nope, because 1 mana, 1/1 that has to attack each turn.
Okay, so Bioplasm says when it attacks, remove the top card of your library from the game. If it's a creature card, it gets plus X plus Y. Then a turn where X is the removed creature card's power and Y is the toughness. As a graveyard player, I hate exiling my stuff.
Yep.
I know, like, we're not playing a graveyard deck, but that's just how I am.
Well,
Mhm.
my fear is like because you might have to read it again, but like, what if you exile a non-creature? All of our non-creature stuff
Yeah.
are super important.
Well, not only that, but like some of the combo pieces are creatures, or some of like a lot of our oozes that we might want for stuff are oozes, so we don't get their effects. Like, what if Splitting Slime goes? That's one of our
Gosh, yep.
combo pieces. You know what I mean? What if Joda goes? That sucks. So even if we do exile a creature card, it's still bad if it's one of the ones that we really need. Now with oozes, sometimes you're gonna get like, oh, it's whatever, we don't really need it. But the one time that it doesn't and you hate it, you're gonna be mad.
Yeah.
Mephotic Ooze gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. When it does combat damage, destroy that to a creature. It's basically got Death Touch. It's
Hmm.
a 5 mana 0/5. I'm fine with cutting this because I don't think we have that many artifacts. We have some. We have like
Yeah. We
maybe
can cut it.
7.
I
And
just
it's
worry about how many creatures we're running at this point.
I mean, we do have a few because we have 28 oozes, and we have some things that are not oozes that are like in combo, like Joda is over there.
Okay, that's fine. I know I've always had the problem of running a whatchamacallit,
Too few.
not enough creatures. Yeah,
Yeah. I think
running 13 creatures in a deck.
the important part is that a lot of the creatures that we want to run will make other creatures, or they'll be just big enough threats to kind of keep people from wanting to attack us. Like acidic slime does a decent job at keeping people at bay if it's not indestructible, because acidic slime has death touch.
Yep.
So people don't want to lose the creature. So like we kind of rely on that a little bit as the like, hey, don't come near me. Bloodhall Ooze. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a black permanent, put a counter on it. If you control a green
That
permanent,
one's
put a
good.
counter on it. That one can
Keep
stay.
it.
It's
Yep,
1
that
mana,
one
1/1.
gets bigger.
Yeah. Consumptive Goo is black for a 1/1 for 4 mana. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, and put a +1/+1 counter on Consumptive Goo. It's not the worst, actually.
Yeah, it gets bigger and like, I don't know. It's good for killing a token. It's a good mana sink if you
Yeah.
need it.
I like the fact that the bonus is a counter, so it
Yeah.
stays.
I'm also a big fan of it plus black market. It's just
Yeah.
dirty.
Yeah. Goblin Ooze is a 5 mana 3/3 with green. Sacrifice another creature, put a 1/1 counter on it. Fine-ish. It's a little bit cost to value.
Yeah, like it has synergies.
Mm-hmm.
Like it you can start the chain with Abzan Ascendancy with it, but
Yeah,
do
that's a
we
good
need
point.
it?
I'm gonna go over that one for now,
Mhm.
just because it at least counter some of the sacrifice stuff, like kind of plays into what we're doing. So I think it's fine. I think I'm actually mostly upset that it's a 5 mana 3/3, even though it
Yeah.
can get bigger. Like that to me, it's
Well,
like it doesn't ratio
it's a
out.
4 mana 3/3 with our
All right.
command.
Well, if we don't curve right, we're gonna get this first.
Yeah.
Gluttonous Slime is just a flash 2/2 with Devour 1 for 3. I don't think that's. It's not bad, but it doesn't, I don't think, make the cut. It doesn't do
No.
anything for us. The most that it's going to do is somebody goes to exile something and we flash it in and eat it instead. Manoplasm is a 3 mana 1/1. When you cast a spell, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the converted mana cost.
Nah.
Yeah. The only thing I'm thinking about is like when we do cast Morophon, like a couple turns later, it's going to be an 8/8. So that's kind of cool, but Corrosive
one turn.
Ooze, yeah. Corrosive Ooze I like because it fulfills a. I'm actually going to call that a removal thing because it'll. If there are people with like Voltron commanders, like equipment commanders,
Yep.
it does kind of serve a purpose.
I kind of wish we had like one of our categories was ooze plus, like ooze with upside.
Ooze with upside. That's actually good. Ancient Ooze is a 7 mana. Power and toughness are equal to the total converted mana cost of other creatures you control. It
I
doesn't.
mean,
It's a beater, but I wish it had trample or we had a way to give it evasion. I think it's fine to stay for now, and we'll see what we cut down to because we're still at 79 cards with 3 lands, so we're at 76, which only leaves
it's equal
us
to the cost, right?
the total converted cost of other creatures you control.
Oh, that's really good with like our splitting ooze because it makes a copy of itself. So the copy costs 6 technically.
Oh, is that how that
And with
works?
Mortho, yeah,
Oh. I mean, again, like the only
it's
problem
really
is that
bad with our tokens though.
yeah,
Like
it doesn't have any evasion. I wish we had a way to give it something. Like
yeah.
the oozes don't really have that. Like oozes should have like menace
Oh,
or skulk or something.
I mean, we just put in the Smuggler's Passage or whatever it's called, Rogue's Passage,
Yeah.
Smuggler's
Oh
Passage.
yeah,
It
yeah.
should have totally been called Smuggler's Passage.
That was later on when they did
The
Kaladesh.
copter.
Yeah. Inexorable Blob is a 3 mana 3/3. Whenever it attacks, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, you get 3/3
An
tapped and
ooze.
attacking. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Chaotic Goo is a 4 mana 0/0. Comes into play with 3 1/1 counters on it. During your upkeep, you can flip a coin. If you win the flip, add a counter, otherwise remove a counter. I think that's fine to go.
I mean, you know how I am.
Yeah, let's not have you flip coins actually.
That'll be the last card to go in my to get cut, and the first card to come in as a 0/0.
Necroplasm is a 3-mana 1/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter. At the beginning of your end step, destroy each creature with converted mana cost equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on it, and it has Dredge 2. I think this is too much of a hurts us.
It's each creature, right?
Each, yeah, each creature.
I actually really like it as a lower end wrath. Because how much does it cost?
The 3-mana 1/1.
So
Mhm.
it'll kill itself at 3. Do you know how badly that takes out token decks, though?
Has to be equal to the number of counters. So the first turn, the first end step, it'll kill all tokens. The next turn, it'll kill all 1-drops, then all 2-drops, and then all 3-drops. Not 1 and lower,
Right.
2 and lower.
Right. I would have it as a wrath, as a conditional wrath. That's kind of how I see it. But we have a couple of wraths, so if you want to say it's not good enough to be a wrath, like for me, that's a wrath. It's a ratchet bomb that also counts for our tribe, in my view. But if you don't want it, we can cut it. We still need cuts, right?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that we were just so high on cards, I wouldn't mind it as much, but we are so high up on cards. Keep in mind also, I should say this too, that a lot of our some of our combo pieces are oozes. I'm looking
Yeah.
at 4. So 23 ooze tribal, but 4 of those combo of the 7 or the 11 combo pieces are oozes. So we're still at 27 oozes, minus not even counting the counter synergy one that I see, the tutor one, and the removal one. So we still have like 30 oozes.
Okay.
Experiment one I think is fine.
Yeah.
Meiotic slime I think is fine.
I love
Biogenic,
Meiotic Slime.
yeah.
Meiotic Slime is the reason I want Mimic Bat, actually.
Ravenous slime is fine. Would die yeah, it's great bait.
Yep.
Prime Speaker Vanifar I think is fine. Necrotic Ooze
It's necessary.
Necrotic Ooze is a backup for Prime Speaker Vanifar and some of our other
Yep.
things. Scavenger Ooze is great bait. Acidic Slime is just fine.
We're at 77 with 4 lands, right?
Yeah, so 73, so we're at 27 lands, so we have to make about 11 cuts. We could cut Garrison and Township.
Yeah,
much
we
as
could.
I mean, it does make. Oh, it's an ooze itself. It doesn't make ooze tokens. They are Eldrazi horror creature tokens.
Yeah, then that cuts too.
So it's not even really ooze tribal. It was like token synergy that didn't necessarily synergize with anything else that we did.
As long as we don't get rid of Cathar's Crusade, we can get rid of Brass Herald.
Okay.
Because Cathar's Crusade does Brass Herald's job just a little better.
I think Unsettled Mariner can probably go.
I've already forgotten what that does.
It's basically it's like a tax to target our stuff.
Gotcha. I agree. Oh, it's the changeling.
Yeah.
Oh, Karn Wanderer then can go. It's the 5 mana. It's a 5 mana 4/4 ooze with possible upside depending on graves.
Okay.
So it's most likely a 5 mana 4/4 ooze with flying.
So I think we pick between Joda and Fist of Sun. As much as I like redundancy, and I do like redundancy, I don't think we can afford redundancy right now. And if we do make enough cuts, we can come back to Joda.
Yeah. Joda's not a ooze. Fist of Suns is a artifact. Like it just and Fist of Suns is 1 mana cheaper and not mana restrictive.
Yeah. So we're at 69 now. Because we have 2 lands, because I just cut 1. So we have 7 more cuts. So at least we have 3 more cuts to get. No, at least we have. What did I just say? 69. So at least we have 5 more cuts to get to 36 lands. We can't get rid of Paradox Engine.
No, but we can get rid of Smothering Tide. Like it's really good and it's land fixing, like color fixing, but also it's really hard for us to cast reliably on turn 4.
Yeah, we do actually have a decent amount of ramp too. I think we should probably get rid of one or two of the tutors. What's the 4-mana tutor? Is that demonic?
Diabolic, I believe. Let me look it up. Diabolic is the 4-mana.
Yeah, I think we can cut that one because we have what did we just see, like 7 tutors? Yeah, we still have
Yeah.
6 tutors. So like we're good to go and find what we need to find. I think we're gonna have to come back to the Palace Siege and Journey to Eternity thing. And then maybe
Then we take out Siege because Journey becomes a land.
yeah, that could kind of be our 35th land.
Yeah.
It's also 2 mana cheaper, so it helps with our curve.
How many wraths do we have? Like none? We have 3.
So 3.
Alright, then we
3-ish,
can't.
because we kept the other thing, remember?
Yeah, then we can't cut Kindred. Because I would say cut Kindred Discovery because or Kindred Dominance because it's 7 mana, but
Yeah. And it's fine to have a couple of high-end spells. Yeah.
we can cut another tutor.
I know, I'm actually looking at them, trying to figure it out. I don't think we can cut Bring to Light because it goes and gets... Oh, no. Creature, instant,
Yeah.
and sorcery. Okay.
We can
thought
cut
it
Bring
got-
to Light because the other ones get everything Bring to Light does with less restrictions.
Yeah.
The only thing I would question is where does it go? Yeah, so Bring to Light lets you cast what you search for. That's the only thing that has it better because Bring to Light says you can cast it without paying its mana cost.
Yeah. I think...
But it also is color dependent.
Mm-hmm. I think if we were like... Oh, equal to the number of colors of mana. So at most we were going to get
5.
5s. Okay.
Which is mana echoes. But
Well, yeah. Well, no, we wouldn't get an enchantment. Creature, instant, sorcery.
oh, never mind. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
That's why I had to reread it. I was like, what do... Because I knew it was a little bit based on... not permanent type, but card type. So I
Mhm.
needed to see what the card types were. If enchantment was in there, I'd be like, oh, that goes and gets like 2 combo pieces, creature and enchantment. I don't even care about the instant or sorcery or whatever.
Right.
But the fact that it doesn't, it gets maybe 1 combo piece, and then we have to worry about it getting removed. We still need to cut 2 cards?
Well, we're
No.
at 35 land right now.
Yeah, 60. Okay, so we need at least 1.
Well, 35 land, and that's not counting Journey.
I don't want to count Journey in the land count, because if you don't get it, or if you can't cast it, or if you don't have a creature, it just sits there as an enchantment. It's not a land, but it becomes a land.
All right.
I think.
Do we want to cut one of our combo trio between line 36 to 38?
Are these all part of the same combo?
No, they're all the same piece of the combo.
Oh,
they're redundancy for each other.
What's the most converted mana cost expensive one?
That would be Riptide, but Riptide also creates the largest tokens.
Okay.
I think Volrath is the most restrictive, but it's the cheapest one to play.
Gotta reread it. The Volrath's Laboratory is 5 tap, make it 2/2. Comes down as 5.
Wait, it's 5 to play it? Then I'm
yeah.
pretty sure Birthing Bogs beat it.
But I think it's a 3 and 4 tap to make a 2/2. Yeah, we'll get rid of Volrath. Just for the sake of curve, I guess. So now we're at minimum land count, which is fine.
Yep. Because we do have enough. We do have a good amount of ramp. Our converted mana cost average is actually pretty low.
Yeah, it should be because we have a lot of 2-drops and stuff.
Actually, and then we have price reduction is the name of the game.
Yeah, that's another thing too. If we get to our commander, I mean, it's gonna be like, oh, we have a lot of combo pieces. This is an Ooze deck. We have 9 combo pieces.
Yeah, and we cut like 5 of them. Who did you think you were building this deck with?
Alright, so land.
So behind the scenes for you guys listening while he's organizing things, when he came to me and was like, hey, let's build Ooze, I offered a second deck list to him. I was like, hey, we could try this tribe instead. Because when I look up Ooze, all I can find are all these combo pieces that come through my head. And he's like, Ooze combos? I was like, oh, anything can combo.
Yeah, then he threw out Mana Echoes, and I'm like, oh, here we go. It's not like you haven't already won a game on season with... Oh, wait, sorry.
That is my pet card.
I'm metagaming now.
Eh,
So I'm
I
gonna.
got really. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I'm gonna look up Morophon on EDA Trek and see the kind of lands that it's running. I don't think Tribal Slimes is gonna be on the tribes. I'll check in a second, but I
It
just want to
is.
see. Oh god.
For themes, oozes is one of them,
Oh god.
but it's not. It's not for Morophon, and it's not for 5-color.
Okay.
It's the best is for Mimeoplasm. So I can pull up Mimeoplasms and I can name off good names, good lands if you want to do
So
a 5-color one.
green and black are our highest. So do we want to just throw in all the green and or black docks? Because then we'll get the other colors.
If you want. I was looking more at things like Opal Palace, Exotic Orchard, and Reflecting Pool.
So the actual rainbow.
Yeah. The rainbow lands that are like they have the expenses, but they don't because Commander.
Hmm.
Command Tower, and then I like the tri-lands, like the Palace, like Opulent Palace
Oh
and
yeah,
such
yeah.
like that. I like lands that are very unassuming. And the reason why I asked for Karn's Bastion, Vivid
Mhm.
Marsh, Vivid Creek, Vivid Grove.
Oh, do you
They're
want the Vivids in there?
Oh yeah, because one, they work with the counter synergy, especially if we're proliferating, but they also are lands that tap for any of them as needed, and they don't have the restriction of colorless. I think Vivids are extremely underplayed in Commander. I think people have moved away from them, and they are low-key way more better than people expect.
Damn, what's the green one? Vivid what? Not Vivid.
Grove.
Grove. Damn. You even said it. I guessed all the other four. Meadow, Creek, Marsh, Crag, Grove. In
I
Woodgrove
wouldn't
order.
remember Meta to Crag.
I just realized.
Expanse and Wilds. Temples. Kind of help our draw that we don't have by
So
filtering with tries.
a lot of our lands are already entering the battlefield tapped, and I don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
too slow. We
Oh,
have.
I'm totally with the let's be unassuming, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, I haven't even finished the tri lands to be honest with you.
That's fair.
I have 5 of them.
Huh.
I don't remember what the other 5 are. I think these are all the Tarkir lands, right?
Yes. Oh, Pachuca Bug?
Yeah. Oh, Pachuca.
How do you feel about Mutavault?
What does Mutavault turn into? Is it?
Changeling. It's a 2/2 with all creature types.
That's not how you spell Mutavault.
And it can do some pretty other wonky things too, because it can tap to pay for itself to turn into a tapped creature. Are we bad for not running growing rights in this?
I don't know if we're gonna get that kind of critical mass.
That's fair. That's why I was asking. I was like, I don't know if we should be. Are we bad for not running Handon's Climb? The white the Simic
Yeah,
legendary enchantment land.
on the other side, it basically doubles the power. Yeah, His Climb is an enchantment, 1 green blue. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Then, if that creature has 3 or more counters, you can transform it. The other side is has for 1 of any color, and for 1 green blue tap, target creature. Oh, gains flying.
Yep, that's what I was like. The flying part, though.
Damn it.
I was
Oh.
all ready and good until I saw flying. I'm like, ooh. That they're flying, though.
I know, because we were just talking about how one of these big old
Oh.
things.
Speaking of land, Rogue's Passage.
I put that in there.
Okay, good. We'll just take out ramp. Nobody needs ramp, right? I would be willing to get rid of rally for it. If rally is more of our recursion, but it's also an expensive recursion.
Yeah, because you got to pay into it. That flying is gonna, I think, come into play a decent amount of time. Flyers win games.
Yeah.
All right, so we have 4 spots left. You want your favorite 4 temples?
Yeah, I think temples work. anything with black and green touching it. $214, or otherwise known as 40 ticks.
It's actually not that bad. So the budget though is $300.
Oh wow.
Okay, it went up a little bit.
I'm not seeing it yet.
492. What
Because
was
of Path of Ancestry?
No. So that was. I don't think that was a fully loaded one before that 200 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because Path is right here and it's only $6.
Yeah.
So I think this just finally totaled up everything. We do have some higher end cards. I mean, Paradox Engine.
Paradox Engine's $42.
Been out of print for a little while. And Paratutor went back up to 70 because they reprinted it for that master set, and then what since? And it was a master set.
And we could easily replace Vampiric with Diabolic. I'm not sure about Paradox, what we could replace with it, but
Demonic Tutor's 30. A lot of our high end stuff is just stuff that's not printed anymore.
And again, you could replace Demonic Tutor with like Enlightened Tutor.
So the top 2 cards are over $100. Top 3 is 140, 170. So our top 5 cards is about $200.
And the deck stops working without 2 of them.
Yeah. Mana Echoes is a big card, and Paradox Engine are 2 big cards. We would have to basically replace.
You could take out Paradox Engine, because then you just need Mana Echoes and Gemstone Array, and the combo is harder, but doable.
Half the combo pieces and do the Fairy Chainveil.
I mean, you could.
Our curves stayed about the same. That's impressive. 30.79. We diversified the land a little bit, or the mana distribution a little bit. We shot red down a lot, taking out those couple of oozes. So 48% green, 5% red, 9% white, 17 blue, and 22 black. So we diversified it a little bit, which is good, I think.
And I think a good thing about this deck is, what cards are you buying for it that you don't already have, or don't have a stand-in for? Yeah. You know?
77 ticks. A lot of ticks.
It is.
What are the high?
But like I said, anyone that's playing on that already has most of those cards if they play.
Okay. Prime Speaker Vanifar is the most expensive card online. You know, that's not surprising. Demonic Tutor, also expensive, not surprising. Herald's Horn, which was a commander product card, not surprising. Scavenging Ooze is a little surprising.
Scavenging Ooze is like king of modern.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Biogenic Ooze.
Well, alright then.
I mean, it's even pretty expensive for paper. It's a $6 card in paper. Is Biogenic Ooze in standard right now? Like, it's in standard, but is it big in standard right now?
No, but everyone wants it to be good, and it's part of our combo.
Yeah. I'm not sure how we would cut this down to. So in the past, what we've always tried to do is, as we were building it, we would pay more attention to the budget and cut according to it. We didn't do that this time, just because we were already restricted by oozes, right? That was the big restriction, was how do we get this to be halfway decent with oozes? So apparently by paying $500.
By throwing enough money at it.
If you throw enough money and combo into it, it'll have to win. And then the other thing that we look at is at the end, when we do actually put in the deck stats, because it gives us the tick cost, we look and say, like, could we play this on Magic Online Commander League? Now this one we couldn't. Could we reduce it down? I don't know, and be playable, because like Biogenic is again a big part. Scavenging Ooze isn't a big part of any of the deck, but I think it's such a good card. Like, what do you replace it with? Except I think like 2 of your top cards being oozes, in one of them being your combo piece. I think if you pull away from it, you basically just start saying that you're building something else at that point. Yeah. Because like we could have done Morophon Dragons and probably made a 25-6 deck fairly easily.
I think that's another big thing is since we have oozes, our tribe has 28 creatures.
Yeah.
We're playing most of them, regardless of their cost.
Yeah.
Whereas if you pick dragons, you can be like, "Oh, I'll play baby dragon." That's
Yeah.
that they pay me to take that card off their hand.
Yeah. So you have a lot less like actual options and stuff like that. So I still
But I'd
think,
play this deck.
yeah, I would like this would be hilarious to see work. Especially the first time you start explaining what it's doing, you're just like, why am I losing? Like, look at the cards I'm losing to. Like Mana Echoes, okay. But then like Biogenic Ooze. Why am I losing to this? Why are these oozes 100/100s because of Cathar's Crusade and other silly nonsense? Like, what?
Right.
How did it come to this?
So
But
what you're
overall,
saying is you'll find a way to make it season 3 acceptable?
hell no. I cannot jump through those kind of hoops, and I don't think I could get like everybody to agree to that. I
I'd
just want
agree
to
to it.
spend $77 on a deck. That's fine, right? We used to
Bad
get-
more often bad tribal week. We'll get the others on board.
No more bad tribal as a
But
theme.
we just built oozes and shown that it can be a good deck.
But I built knights once and I hated my life.
Well, then play oozes.
I that was the problem. I didn't throw $500 at knights, so how could they win? How could they win?
Not against archers, knights don't.
I should. I'm actually gonna real quick just check something because I do want to. All right, so we just said throw $500 at this deck and it'll be good, right? That sounds like a decent amount. And if you're building it from scratch, it probably is, right? I just want to make a point. My Edgar Markov deck costs $662, and I own this in paper, and it's double sleeved because it costs $662. So like $500 sounds like a lot, but when you think about it, like, and my decks aren't super competitive. I have. Oh, never mind. I think this deck might have all the shocks. My Muldrotha doesn't because I don't have Overgrown Tomb. But like, okay, well in that case, like this has all shocks and stuff in it. So think about the quality of some of my other cards in here. Like you can see right here, I have Wasteland. I do have a Vampiric Tutor. I do have a Yawgmoth because it's a dominant. I have Timna the Weaver, which is a $20 card. Like, so really the balance of the budget in the other deck might actually be better. I probably have a few like spike cards here. No, it's about the same.
Yeah.
My top 3 cards are 90, 70, 160. That might be kind of average for commander players. It's just,
well, if you look at it, it's about $5 a card. 100-card deck, $500, $5 a card.
yeah.
And like we said, this is one of those decks that you can 9 of the 10 of the cards, 9 of like the combo pieces, you can run in more often with any tribe.
Yeah, you're gonna get, especially if you're playing online, right? Because you buy the card once and then you don't buy them anymore because you can put that copy in all your decks. So if you spend however much it was to get a Mana Echoes, like you now have Mana Echoes for all your decks. You could put that in your Edgar Markov deck. You could put that in your Krenko deck. You could put that in your Kiki Jiki deck or Perforos deck or whatever else. Whatever else makes a lot of tokens. Your Wart Mother deck. I don't know if that makes tokens or not. I know like she makes tokens, but
Your Grenzo, the
Oh,
Soul Warden, the
Yep.
one that gets it from the bottom, because then it pays for him to get more off the bottom.
Yep.
I ran that. It's a wonderful combo.
And hey, Modern Horizons just had a cool new card for him with the Sling Gang Lieutenant.
Gosh, such a good such a good card.
It is. It's. I don't know. I saw Jimmy Wong play it on game nights, and I was like, man, that card's stupid.
Especially after 7 times. But anyway,
What do you mean? I only played it 6.5 times because one time it got countered. I have a Worth the Raid Mother deck that runs a token sub theme to power out some big plays. Oh, there you go. I guess if you're using spell instants and sorceries to make the tokens, and then ward allows you to conspire them, right? That's the mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're getting twice as many tokens, and then you're in green, so you can get extra stuff, and then you can have impact tremors and goblin bombardment and Perforos, and then like before you know it, everybody's dead.
Or you have mana echoes, as we were talking about, and fireball,
Yeah,
and turn all of your goblins into 5 mana by the time you cast your 3rd spell with Conspire.
Fireball is old school now. We do Jaya's Immolating Inferno because you hit 3 things.
I'm sorry, Earthquake, and kill everybody at the table.
Gotta go out.
Starstorm.
Yeah. What is
Don't ask me.
Oh no, I was gonna say Star of Extinction, but that's not next spell. It's just expensive. The one that deals like 20 damage to every creature in Planeswalker or some shit like that. Everything gonna die.
The Stuffy Doll combo.
All right, listen here, you.
Huh?
Listen here, you. What is it? Is Pyrohemia? It takes red mana.
Yep.
Oh, never mind. Same thing with Pestilence, takes black mana.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disappointed.
You need that gemstone array.
There you go.
Kind of why it's there.
We keep coming back to this. These are the pieces you need. All right,
Yeah, but once you have them, you can run any deck in combo with it.
Yeah, it was a fun build. And that's the cool thing about Morophon is that you just get to do dumb stuff. Now the night thing is actually in my head, and I hate it. I hate it that I'm probably gonna do it.
You do knights, I'll do oozes, and we just need to get the other two involved.
Just don't do walls. That's what
we just can't have Danny do archers.
No, we can't. So I just want everybody to understand, because this was our very first episode ever on YouTube. We decided to play bad tribal, so we tried to pick the 3 like most underrepresented, not super synergistic tribes. Danny decided to do archers in green white. John decided to do walls in blue black. His commander was Fennex. Danny's was, I think, just Karamitra, because there's not like a really, yeah. There is a legendary archer, but it didn't matter, and she wanted access to the green. I did green white knights because Sidar Kondo was a knight himself, and he enabled people to like sneak by the enemy because creatures 2 or less, and a lot of knights are creatures with power 2 or less, except if they're flying or have reach. And somehow the first thing John did was give all his walls flying, and then Danny's almost all archers have reach. What in the hell kind of bullspit meta is this?
You needed a 4th player.
Yeah. We started off with 3-player games, and I hated it.
So did I.
Yeah. Now we're at 4 players. Alright, well, we're going to wrap this one up. It was a fun deck. I will probably not do Knights on a stream, like on a Reflections. I will probably do it personally so that I can hate myself in silence. And yeah. John, you got anything you want to say before we go?
I'm surprised that oozes came together so well. Like, I can normally look at a pile and be like, yeah, I spent 2 hours on this and shouldn't have. But like, I wouldn't put this one out. Like, if somebody sat and I got to look at the deck list and watch them play, I wouldn't bet against it. It has potential.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're playing
Blows
generic
my
combo
mind.
pieces. For me, make sure you guys are, of course, following us on YouTube if you're not already. Following us over on Facebook.com/Praetor Magic, Twitter.com/Praetor Magic, and Instagram.com/Praetor Magic. You can follow us on Twitch.com or Twitch.tv/Praetor Magic, but we're trying to kind of focus on YouTube right now, so you don't really have to do that until I guess we eventually maybe try to go back. You can follow us on our Discord. I'll put a link down below because it's not just discord.com, because Discord doesn't like to be simplistic, I guess, or whatever. We are, of course, sponsored by inkgaming.com, your game, your style. Make sure you go via our affiliate link in the description below with that Praetor10 coupon code. Get yourself 10% off and help support us while you're getting your custom playmats and everything like that. You can get the Praetor Magic playmat out there. Just search Praetor, and it'll be like the first one. A lot of us are trying to go to GP Vegas in August. So if you're going, let us know. We'll be there playing Commander. You can stop by. You can say hi. That'd be really cool. Maybe play some games. And I think that's it. One
20
thing.
bucks to whoever sits down at her table with Morophon oozes.
Oh God, no! Don't do it. Yeah, $20 if you sit down with our $500 deck. The last thing I'm gonna say is going to be a little out of like the theme of it. For those of you guys who follow me on Twitter, I have been kind of like struggling lately with mental health stuff, and I just want to take a quick moment, use this platform to say that if you are in need of help or if you feel like you're in trouble, please go out and talk to people. It's a really hard thing to do, as I'm finding out now, but it feels a lot better just to talk. So don't suffer by yourself. Don't think that you're alone, etc., etc. Don't just like take it all on your shoulders. Go find people to talk to, and if you really need help, go find like professional help. It's much better than any other alternative. Trust me. So just want to say that really quick. Again, I know it's kind of weird and it's kind of out of the context of what we were doing here because we were having a lot of fun, but it's been something that's been on my mind to do lately. So I just want to start kind of giving like that push. If somebody hears that and goes and talks to somebody and it makes their life better, then it's worth it. So until next time, John and Danny are going to stream tomorrow. John and I might stream on Wednesday. We might have a stream on Thursday. Nobody's signed up yet, and Phyrexian's been gone, so I don't really know what he's doing. So if you want to sign up, sign up. And if nobody does, then I might just do some pickup games and try to get some recordings in. We did have a new video come out on youtube.com/Praetor Magic. It's the feather video. Go check it out. Please check it out and leave a comment on whether you like it or you didn't like it and why you liked or didn't like it, because it's a new format. We did a narrated video, so I recorded the game, chopped it up to make it quicker. It's a 30-minute video as opposed to like an hour-and-a-half game, and I narrated what was going on. So just try it out. Just give it a look, watch it, even if it's only for 10 minutes or whatever, and just tell me what you think of it. And if we do get a lot of good feedback from that, we're going to keep doing it. If we don't, then we'll try something else. So until tomorrow with John and Danny, that's all we got for you guys. Peace.
Bye.